Welcome to the Dice Tower video preview of GenCon 2013. In this series of 4 videos, Tom Vassell and Z Garcia take a look at announced games for the GenCon convention. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Z.
Alright folks, welcome back to video 2 of GenCon 2013 preview. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hey.
We are board game enthusiasts and we're excited because there is at least 100, I think, new games that are being released or demoed for either the first time or very close to the first time that will be there. So last time we talked about all the companies that started with an A and Fantasy Flight.
That's right.
So now we're at the companies that start with B.
All right, progress, baby.
We can speed up here. There's just a lot that start with A. First is Baksha Games, and they have What's He Building in there.
What's he building in there?
I think the best way to describe What's He Building in there is if you like Manhattan Project, I think you'll like What's He Building in there. It's a very good worker placement game where you are a mad scientist trying to build a machine and a way to escape once you built the machine, some doomsday machine. And so there's workers you're putting around the board trying to get the things you need, and you have not nearly enough workers for everything you want to do.
Now, you've played this already, haven't you?
I played the prototype.
Okay.
And I thought it was very, very well put together.
Cool.
It's a very tight game. It's one of the best Kickstarter games, and the production looks to be pretty good.
All right.
Then we have Bezier Games, and I'm excited about them. Well, 2 of their games that they're demoing there were already demoed at Origins, and Z and I both played them already. Ultimate Werewolf Inquisition.
Excellent game.
Which is like Werewolf kind of combined with... I don't want to say combined with Resistance.
Like Werewolf for a smaller group. How about that?
There you go. And then You Suck, which is a tick-taking game.
Tick-taking? It's a play on trick-taking because the theme is ticks.
Yeah, okay. It's okay. It's a little chaotic for my taste.
I like it. I think it's a cool trick-taking game.
But the one I'm really pumped about is the new expansion for Suburbia. Suburbia Incorporated. I love Suburbia. And having more buildings and more things to do, very exciting.
I think that's going to be a big hit. A lot of people love
That's going to be one that people will be pushing people out of the way to get to.
That's right.
Now, a company a lot of people skip over and don't talk about is BlueOrange Games. And you shouldn't. I mean, granted, most of the games are for kids or families. So I guess if you have no kids and you don't like families.
That's
no,
sad.
No, that's terrible. I don't mean it that way. But their games are very light. They usually come in those little round tins.
That's right.
They have Spotted Party, which is their newest Spotted. I think it's maybe their 800th thing. They have a lot of different Spotteds. But they also have a few other games that they released, I think, around Origins. There was... Flash and Nada. They're both like speed games where you roll dice and people shout stuff out and grab them.
Speed dice game. Very, very light speed dice game, yes.
And then Ooga Booga, which was a game I liked a lot. Basically, it has kind of funny caveman words, and you put the card in the pile, and you have to say all the caveman words that have come out so far.
Okay.
So it's like Ooga Maga, Ooga Chaka, you know.
So a memory game, basically.
Yeah, a memory style game, but it was pretty funny.
Okay.
Because you might have to do actions and words. So that's BlueOrange Games. Next, we have Break from Reality Games. They don't have any new games there. They were going to try to Damage Report, which is like a cooperative space game. It was a real-time one.
Okay.
Different than Space Alert. You're like moving people around a ship, trying to get this to over to here, to this to there, doing different resources.
That seems to be one of the new things. You know, one of the new
real-time cooperative.
Yeah, Escape just came out not too long ago. That's interesting.
But they will have the demo there. They're just missing. But they also have a new accessory, which I thought was interesting. They have these new mats that are anti-slip. Like you can throw things on and it won't slide across the mat.
Cool.
Then Calliope Games. They're most well known for one game, and that's Tsuro. Or is that, you pronounce it Tsuro, but it's spelled Tsuro. They have an expansion. Last year they came out with Tsuro of the Sea. Now they have a new one called Veterans of the Sea, which adds whirlpools and bad tiles and good tiles to the mix. And then they have the Stones of Fate, which they'll be demoing there. So that's from Calliope Games. Moving on to Cosmic Wombat Games. Who makes up these names?
Cosmic Wombat. I like it.
They have a game called Campaign Trail. This is a political game about running for president. I'm interested in that because so many of these political games just never do very well. In fact, 1960 is the only one I can think of off the top of my head that I thought
nailed it.
But that one was very specific to 1960. So I hope this one works. They're also
for me it seems a little heavy, a little long. The theme doesn't really grab me. That's a pass for me. But if you like that theme and you want a nice solid 2-hour game, delving into it, check it out.
And then they'll be demoing a game called Stones of Fate. I don't know much more about it other than that.
Yeah.
Conquistador Games has probably the most controversial game coming out at GenCon. It's called Tomorrow.
Ah, yes.
And Tomorrow, your goal is basically the population of Earth is too much, so you are depopulating it as much as you possibly can. You're just trying to depopulate your nation a little bit less. So you use chemical warfare, nuclear warfare, and biological warfare. And very specific biological warfare. They have like 20 different biological weapons you can use. And there's all kinds of things in this game. It's a diplomacy/risk style game, kind of, sort of. I played it. The prototype was a very, very, very beginning prototype of the game. Interesting game. The theme is going to turn some people off.
Absolutely. That's a heavy theme. So I'm curious as to how that's going to go over with the majority of gamers. Probably okay, I would say. But what I thought was interesting is it seems like a really heavy negotiation game. Would you say diplomacy game?
Yeah, there's a lot of that going back and forth, and because you have like a secret agenda that you are trying to accomplish, which basically is at the end of the game how many of your people are alive compared to other nations.
Right.
You're trying to keep certain nations alive and certain nations. I mean, it's really kind of a bad theme. I mean,
yeah, but if you like diplomacy games,
but it's very abstracted. I mean, there is that. Oh well. Anyway, so that's from Conquistador Games. Crash Games has a demo of Pay Dirt. Now, this one is probably people are going to be interested in it because the designer of it's the same guy who did Alien Frontiers.
Yes.
It's a money management game. Crash Games also has a lot of their other games there. He also has another prototype, which name is escaping me, but it's a little fun bluffing style game.
Ah.
Moving on to Cryptozoic. Now, Cryptozoic last year released a whole pile of games. Most of them were licensed games, but they had the DC deck building. They had 3012. That was like a futuristic deck building. And you know what? Most of them were garbage. Well, I mean, the Hot Rod Racing Creeps one was pretty good.
I haven't played that one.
Now, I've had a chance to play two of their new games. They have the new Lord of the Hobbit, the Hobbit
yes.
cooperative game, which is a lot of fun. I just reviewed that one. Raffle, or Rolling on the Floor Laughing, ROFL, which is a party game in which you try to squish everything in. And they will also have a couple demos. They'll have the Two Towers deck building game because...
The follow-up, right?
Yes. The one that's the same as DC deck building and Lord of the Rings, and it's all the same. Pretty soon you'll be able to have a deck this big. And
I don't know about that. This seems
Aragorn and Superman are going to beat up Joker and Saruman.
I don't know. I'm a little put off by the whole thing. It seems like such a lazy thing to just keep retheming this one
But they
game.
do have one game you are interested in. The Gravwell, Escape from the Ninth Dimension.
Gravwell seems neat. It didn't make my top 10.
And they're only demoing this one.
Yeah, it's sort of a racing game, and it looks a little abstract, but it looks neat. I'd love to try it out. One of my favorite genres of games is racing games. Co-op games, racing games, probably my top two.
They don't make many good racing games these days.
They don't, but I'm interested to check it out. And it's sci-fi-ish theme, even though, like I said, it looks pretty abstract. So that looks cool. Check it out.
All that's from Cryptozoic. Now, Days of Wonder will be there, which is always a big thing to see them. The problem is they don't have a new game. They'll be showing off a prototype of their new game, which is Relic Runners.
Right. And that looks so cool.
Well, it's Days of Wonder, so I mean...
Absolutely.
But
it's been a while since they put out a really neat big box game.
A new one.
A new one, yes.
That wasn't Ticket to Ride or Memoir.
That's right, a new one. They had a couple of... I would say they've had a couple of bumps. It used to be Days of Wonder was the company that could do no wrong. And they've had a couple of bumps along the way lately with some of their big box games, Cargo Noir and things like that, were interesting, but not the slam dunks that the early games were.
This one might be.
This looks like it might put them right back on that track. I'm excited. This is one of my top 10. Looking forward to. Yep.
I think half you're looking forward to are prototypes, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, it's the things that are getting me excited, possibly turn out to be a great game.
Compound It is from Dice Hate Me Games. That also will only be there in prototype form, but it has a periodic table theme.
Yeah, it's so strange. I did my research on it. It looks so weird. I don't know.
Yeah, but a lot of people are really saying they like it.
Yeah.
From Daryl Lauder.
I can see myself having a really hard time bringing this out to the table and be like, hey, guys, Just having everybody running away. School is back,
I don't know. I think it sounds interesting. It has push your luck in it, and for me, that's something I like.
Yeah.
Now, the next game is in my top 10 list, and that's from Fireside Games, and that's Dead Panic. I'm really pumped about this.
Yes.
This is the zombie game I was telling you about. That it's Castle Panic is a great cooperative game. It's a little light, but when you add the expansion in the Wizard's Tower, it's really good.
So good, so good.
But it's done really well, and this one is not just a re-skinning of it, although it has a similar thing. You're in the middle of the table, and the zombies are coming in, but you're in a cabin, and you move around in the cabin trying to get weapons, fight the zombies off as they come in, and at some point in the game, a van will show up. Run for the van. But, Z trips in the way, and I make it to the van. Well, sorry, man.
It's okay. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the fact that you have a character, that's different. And I think you can actually become a zombie, if I'm not mistaken, in the game. It looks really neat. This looks like a great re-implementation of it. I'm glad it's not a straight-up, let's jump on the zombie bandwagon, reskin. It looks neat. This is one I'm really looking forward to. I'm worried, again, I am still a little bit worried that it might be too similar. But, man, it looks cool.
All right. The next is Floodgate Games. They did the Legacy game. It was a time travel game in which you would go back in time and invent technologies. And if I would go back in time and invent one before yours, then yours became null and void because of different reasons. And you get points for technology. So it's a pretty cool mechanic. So they have Forbidden Machines, the expansion.
Which is an expansion, yes.
Foxtrot Games has Relic Expeditions, which I keep getting that confused with Relic Runners.
Yes, that's another theme that's very prevalent, I think, this year.
Treasure hunting,
running around a temple, that sort of thing. It seems to be making a big
But the good news is this is also a demo only, so you won't accidentally buy the wrong one. This was a Kickstarter. Looks pretty good, though.
It does. And, it made me think of Takao, actually. It looks a lot like that game, that old Wolfgang Kramer game. And it's really neat looking. I'm excited. I like exploration games. Like move here and see what you get. Flip the tile. I like that. It looks neat. I'm excited about it.
And then Gale Force 9. Now last year they had one of the hits of the convention with Spartacus, because everyone saw Spartacus and everyone just automatically assumed, it's a license, it's dumb,
it's gonna be bad.
This company never made a board game before. Then people played it and they were like, whoa, this is fun. Now, not everyone did, but a lot of people liked it. So now they're doing Firefly, which has a following that's intense. I don't want to mess with Firefly fans.
Right.
And so hopefully this is another one.
Yeah, if lightning can strike twice, then why not?
That's exactly what I said on my podcast.
Oh, yeah? I'm looking forward to it. I think that could be cool. I like Firefly. That theme attracts me way more than the Spartacus theme. And I'm not a huge fan of the licensed games, but hey, if it's great, why not?
All right, well, we've made it up to F.
Yes.
Only a few more videos left. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
And you've been watching our GenCon 2013 preview.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.